Hey, welcome back to another episode of Behind the Lens. Today, we sit down with Karl, aka Ender Shadow on Instagram. Karl's a perfect example of how practice makes perfect. In just a short time, he's gotten really good at toy photography. I'm a big fan, so it was a pleasure to sit down with him and chop it up. Check out the episode. Thank you for joining me today. And let's just get right to it then, right?
All right.
All right, man. So I've been we've been chopping it up for a while and things like that. And from where you started, maybe like a couple years ago, right? Something like that. Maybe like
Yeah.
2-3 years ago, to where you at now. It's the growth is amazing to watch with you, right? But I
Yeah.
want to know, what kind of inspired you to pick up the camera and want to start doing this hobby?
Uh, well, I guess it's me a little bit aspect of like I've always been an artsy kid and used to draw a lot, and like I guess maybe from taking too many spills skateboarding and stuff, like holding the pencil after a while hurts. And in high school, I took photography and really enjoyed it, but always kind of wanted to go back to it. um, Toy photography. I mean, just being a comic book nerd and like an action figures, um, appealed to me, and like just creating art. But I always had an interest, but there was a two individuals that really kind of like inspired me to like be like, all right, yo, I'm gonna do this. One was someone, unfortunately, don't really talk too much anymore, but was always kind of like, yo, check this out, check this out, check this out. And I was like, man, after a while, it's like it's like, man, I want to try this out. And then a dude, Gundam nerd, and I was in like one of his lives, and I was like, oh yeah, I'm good at posing and stuff like that. And then he kind of ripped me a new one, but in his own kind of way, like not malicious, but he was keeping it 100. And I was like, you know what, I'm gonna prove this dude wrong. And I think I got a camera for Christmas, which was a Canon um 4000D, just kind of like a really good. It was like a good starter camera. But I had like two jobs at the time, a new time, and it sat for like a year and a half, 2 years. And then all of a sudden, COVID happened, and I got more free time than I ever expected. And I was like, yo, let me jump into this, you know? Um,
Yeah.
and ever since then, it's just, I haven't stopped. Sometimes I might take a little break. You get, I guess, some sort of form of writer's block, or lately it's just been the inconsistency of Instagram that can be frustrating. But I'm always thinking of pictures and, trying to come up with new ideas.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. I remember when we first started, chatting it up, and you would show me some shots, and I'm like, oh yeah, that's good, man. And again, like I'm not anything at where you're at right now, but like little pointers here and there, because it was always cool because you took it well, the critique.
Yeah.
It's not like there's other people that can be out there and you make a little suggestion and it's like, what the hell? What do you know? You think you're better than me type of thing. And, I mean, I guess, but it's
Yeah.
it's to each
I,
his own, and it's
yeah.
better that, especially in a hobby like this, that you take critique well, because you're going to get it a lot, you know?
Oh, sure. And I honestly, I've been, well, one, I mean, I wouldn't say that it's like I'm better than you or whatever like that, but no, man, you always had good positive feedbacks and suggestions, and I always appreciate that from day one. And I always like I'll sometimes even shoot you a photo before I even post it, like, yo, check this out. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
But I've been lucky enough um to where I haven't really ever really received any malicious critiques or anything that would be a harsh critique. Yeah, everybody that makes their little suggestions, and it's appreciated. And if I can't redo the photo, I'll take that criticism or advice for the next photo.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I'm one of those people. I'm not like insultingly humble, but I'm humble. Like I don't think I'm as good as maybe others might think I am, or you know what I mean. Like sometimes I see stuff, and every photo is your little child, but like I love hate every every photo I take. You know, and I'm trying to not beat myself up too much anymore with that because what I see as a flaw, others probably won't even see.
Yeah, exactly. And you know, you're your worst critic, right?
Oh yeah, by
You
far.
yourself, because you never think it's gonna probably be that good. And like
Yeah.
I remember a few times you sent me the shot, and I thought it was really good where it was at, and you're like, "Nah, I'm not happy with it. I'm gonna do it over," and things like that, you know.
Yeah.
And but it's stuff like that that kind of maybe discourages somebody also that's trying to start this. Like, oh man, I'm no good. Oh, this shot sucks, and then you don't want to try it again. But the one big step is like trying to overcome that and keep trying it until you get it right, right?
Oh yeah. I mean, I say you gotta just keep plugging away and don't stop or get discouraged. I can't. It's easy to say not to get discouraged because there's moments I think everyone gets discouraged, but it's like if you keep doing it, you'll eventually you'll see the difference between your first photo and then 20 photos later. Um, but it's just like if you want to, it's like anything. If you actually want to get good at something, you just keep doing it.
Yeah,
It's not like you're going to step on the football field and like be the star running back the first time you ever, run a
touch the
play.
ball and stuff. Yeah,
Yeah. So it's like everything and there are, there's, um, some people that are just, they can just pick something up and be fantastic at it. There's the exception, to the rule, but I mean, 9 times out of 10, it's not like, you gotta put in the time.
yeah.
And I mean, and you like you said, you were with me day one, and I put in the time. You
Oh
know,
yeah, definitely, definitely.
um,
You just gotta keep, like I've talked about it before with other guys. Like just it's almost you're just practicing your craft, right?
yeah,
With every
yeah,
shot, it's literally practicing your craft because every shot isn't the same. It's got to be different, right? Because if now you're just using the same shot, just different figures, but it's the same thing, and
yeah,
eventually people will pick up on that.
yeah. I mean, there's some people that do what they do very well, and if you really analyze it, it'd probably be this, like, oh, that's like he did the same thing every time. But I mean, I say, you're only limited by your imagination, really. And if you don't know how to pull something off, um, there's definitely like YouTube stuff, like especially like when it comes to like practical effects. Now I kind of like dabble in both, like digital and practical now, because it's just fun. But if I could pull something off practical, I'll do it. But I mean, there's a lot of things like you can just look up, like I some personally, I always found it a pain in the ass to use like stands, and I
Yeah,
found I
yeah,
got the kind of same kind of effect by putting a piece of glass up and shooting down, and it almost looked more like a natural floating or flying kind of effect.
yeah.
Um, there's little like tricks and stuff like that, but like I said, I mean, I think you're really only limited to your imagination, really, and if you can't think of a cool angle or cool shot, like look at comics and look at watch movies. You know,
Yeah.
because I think when I first started too, I was pretty much like I love the Dutch tilt. Like I used to do that a lot. But I just thought it looked so cool. Eventually, like I got away from it, and then sometimes I'll bring it back because it's just a cool little angle. But yeah.
So you said, you mentioned how you got into this during COVID and like fully went on because of the time that you had. A lot of us had a lot of time. So I know there's probably a lot of guys just like you that probably took it up during these times or
Yeah,
other
yeah.
some probably other hobbies, right?
Yeah,
But
sure.
you mentioned before, what kind of camera do you have? What camera do you have now?
Well, right now I have
Or what did you start with?
I started with a Canon 4000D, which is kind of like I think it's a T5 or T6 like equivalent. And now
Okay.
I have a Rebel EOS 2 T7, um, which I like. I don't think I'll be upgrading anytime soon because I like it, unless like eventually I just like it's time to upgrade. Because I mean I plan on it, but just right now I guess like funds, because cameras like once you start getting past like a certain point, man, cameras are not cheap, you know.
Yeah, yeah. And also, something else that's not cheap is lenses.
Yeah.
Lenses, depending on what type of lens you have, it goes for a pretty small grip. What kind of lens are you using on your camera now?
I kind of like go between two different lenses. One's a 100 millimeter macro, and then one I like used for a long time, and I love it. And I kind of float between two now. Is the Nifty 50, all both Canon lenses.
All right, and that's the one that comes with the camera, right? Or like the smaller one.
No, that one at least they might sell like kits, like starter kits that have it. But no, I went out and I got that one uh after I had my camera, when I was like, okay, well, I want to try different lenses.
Oh, okay.
And that one, it's not an expensive lens, the 50 millimeter. I think I got mine for, just went to Target or Best Buy, I forget which one, and it was like $110. And that's a fun lens. And with this first starting out,
Yeah,
I highly suggest that lens.
I think that was one of the first lenses I also bought after I got mine. Was one of
Yeah,
50. Yeah.
it's cool.
I haven't used it in quite a long time actually. I'm stuck with the same one that I've been using for the longest. um but yeah, man, that's pretty cool then. And then like how often would you say, let's say maybe when you first started out during the pandemic, like how often would you grab the camera and maybe like or try to set up for a shot?
When it first started the pandemic and I first started doing it, every
Yeah,
day,
every day.
every day. Like
Or like
I kind of treated it like how Jim Lee was trying to treat it, like getting into comic books. Like it was almost eight. Like I treated it like a job, really. Like I would spend hours, and that's how like I figured out, like even with setups and stuff like that. Even to this day, I still don't have many dios. And I think that's sometimes why I like the Nifty 50, because I can get like a nice blur to the background and kind of trick someone that's looking at it, might think there's like a dio or something more in the background when it's really,
yeah.
there's not.
Uh-huh.
you know
Yeah. So that's cool. So every day, wow. Now, were you like posting up all the shots you were taking, or
um well, I mean, in the early days I probably sent you like almost everything I shot. So yeah, no, I was posting on every day. At the time I wasn't even posting on my own account. It's like me and a couple of friends would post on one called IG name, Anonymous Plastic Addicts. That's where most of my stuff was. I was posting like early on there. And
yeah,
then
yeah,
eventually,
I
yeah,
remember. Okay, yeah, I
yeah,
did remember when when you started up that group page,
Yeah.
um, with a couple of us. Like,
Well,
I
I think it's
remember
like,
you posting up there like, yeah, like almost every day, maybe twice a day, if anything. So yeah, I do remember that now.
yeah, and I think that group came about from me and you, our little brainchild, because we had a friend that was like frustrated. Well, a friend at the time was frustrated with his toy photography, so we were like, why don't we just do a group thing? You know?
Yeah, yeah. That was cool, while it lasted. It was cool, and like
Yeah.
stuff like that. In my eyes, it's like, all right, we weren't putting names on who did the photo. It wasn't even like a competition either, like of how many
Uh,
likes you got. It was just like, let's get it out there, and like maybe more people would see it on a page like this than on my own personal page,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
And even though you do this because you like to do it, it's fun. It might be like stress relief for a lot of us.
Oh
um
yeah.
we also do want like that little bit of appreciation for the stuff that you feel good about, like, oh man, look, I love the way this shot came out, let me post it. And sometimes it's kind of like, damn, no one else liked it, when you only see like the 5-10 likes. But then you
Yeah.
get like, I guess you get like, a little bit of like a sense of like acceptance or something. I'm not sure the word I want to use, but
Mm.
maybe like a sense of like, oh yeah, everybody else digs it too, maybe appreciation, I don't know. But the fact
Oh
that
yeah.
maybe like 50 or 60 people, like, you're like, oh wow, look at all these heads like my picture, right? And
Yeah.
it kind of motivates you to be like, yeah, let me take another one.
Oh yeah. I remember like the first time one of my shots ever got like a couple hundred likes. I was like, what? Like it was exciting, man. It felt good. I mean, even though, I mean, let's be real. Most people's like, oh, it's not about the likes, it's about the art. Yeah, 100%. But likes do make you feel good, and it's a good way to know that it's being seen. You know.
Yeah, yeah,
Um, but yeah, I mean, the first time one of my photos got a couple hundred likes, I was blown away. I
yeah.
was just like, what? Real for real? That many people liked it? Like,
Yeah, and you went from getting a couple hundred likes to being featured on other pages, and that was awesome on itself. Devil Toys is one of them that you were
oh yeah,
featured on, and that was sick. I remember when I first saw that, and because it's been a couple of times you've been on there now.
oh yeah, yeah. And, they really like some of my stuff, and also my friend Scott, they like his stuff. Like, there's like a couple of us that like always shooting devil toys, and like I think they're like into what we're doing. Like they love it, and like I've talked to, because I primarily shoot Mecha Will Rise, and that graffiti artist Check Disc who creates the characters, like he loves them. He's like, dude, when he's shooting more stuff, like he's cool as hell. Um, so yeah, I it's it's like not a well known line, but I love it. I guess I think maybe sometimes when you really love a line or love certain figures, perhaps that translates into your photos.
Yeah,
Like,
it's because it's like, like I was mentioning before in another previous episode. You can tell when someone's actually enjoying what they do, right? No matter
yeah,
what line, no matter what the thing is, I can see that you're having fun, right?
yeah,
Like, let's say, for example, like it's a podcast, right? It's a show. If I wasn't having fun, I would just sound like a damn robot talking to you and just reading questions like, yeah, 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 yeah. Okay, good answer.
next,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
On to the next question. Yeah,
yeah, exactly.
because
And it's like you
you
feel it.
wouldn't
It's
be
emotionless.
engaging.
It's emotionless, right?
Yeah,
But with through a picture, you see that because you're taking the time to, you know, get the right pose, get the right angle, get the right lighting, get the right everything, so you can get that product that's in your head.
yeah,
To put that in a photo is a hard thing to do if you don't care for it. If you don't feel like doing it, it's just gonna be like, yeah, here it is, regular vanilla pose, snapshot, post it up. Here's a little like light effects or whatever I could do on an app, and boom, call it a day. Right? You see
yeah,
these things, you see it translates when you're having fun. It translates to what you're putting out. So
yeah.
like,
And For sure, because I mean, there's some guys that are really, really talented, but they're very redundant. Like they just set it up, and it's almost the same thing every day, and you don't really see the love in it. It's almost like it's just regurgitating the same thing, and as good as the photo is, you can't really feel the passion in it or the love for the figure. It's
Yeah,
kind of like they're doing it like they're on autopilot. Where there's other photos where it's like you're like, man, this guy must have really loved this figure. Like, you really took the time to take this photo and come up with something that's interesting to look at. It's not,
yeah,
a static pose with some really great lighting. It's like, a very like dynamic pose, and it's like creating the whole scene. And yeah, like you definitely can tell when like someone's. And sometimes maybe it's not the figure. Maybe they're just really passionate about the shot, like
yeah, yeah,
the idea. Um, but I think, especially if you really love the figure, that helps a lot. You know.
yeah. Now you mentioned before that you don't really mess with the flight stands, which I got a few early on in the day. Like I got some stands from 796 Studios from Mario. I got some from him when he was putting them out,
Yeah.
and probably another set from the ACBA stuff when
Mhm.
they put up their merch.
Yeah.
But I never really used them. I tried to, and it's like you said, I guess there's a technique on how to use them. It's not just stick it in the fig and here you go. It's like you got to pose on the stand, and I'm like,
Yeah.
and that I don't know how to do. So I can't use them. It looks stupid.
Well, I
But
think to my motivation, like for also not using them and using glass too, it's when editing, it's one less step I have to do. Like I don't have to like cut it out. You know what I mean? If I
yeah,
wanted
yeah.
to like, Photoshop it out or whatever. And I mean, anybody that's first really getting into it, I mean, if you want to learn how to pull off really great practical effects, I mean, ACB is definitely like a good way to study how to pull off practical effects for sure. If you can't take criticism, um, kind of, I would watch
Yeah, if
you.
you're too sensitive to criticism, that's definitely
Yeah,
a group where you probably won't fit in because you need to
yeah,
take criticism well to be in that group. Because
yeah,
and again, most of the time, majority of the time, probably I would say 90%, it's not to be malicious, and literally,
yeah,
it's a bunch of guys just trying to help each other out. And I joined them before a while ago, and I was on there for like maybe a year or so, and I was every time I try to post a pickup. And I would see what they would say. I'd like, all right, let me try this next time, or even right then and there, and try to do the shot over.
yeah. I think with that group, those who know how to give criticism, you can learn from. But there's a lot of people that don't know how to give criticism. So you can work really hard. And this is where you'll get discouraging, at least in that group, not to defame or speak negatively of that group, because there's a lot of talented guys, very nice guys. But with any hobby, there's going to be those people that are not that nice.
Mhm.
um, but when you post there and the first comment is all negatives, it's not really a way to to critique the right way. Especially like being a boss and taking classes on how to give and receive feedback. There's a lot of people that probably need to sit down and learn how to do that. And I think a lot of any negative light that's on them when it comes to critiquing, I think would slowly go away after people learned how to properly give advice and critiquing. Because as soon as you post and it's boom, negative, 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 that's discouraging. So if you're first starting out,
I would say if
uh,
you're first starting out, just sit back and watch, learn
yeah,
from everybody else's pictures.
Yeah.
And
Oh
things
yeah.
like that. Because I
Yeah.
think too, like when I joined that page, a lot of the time, like as a person that as a photographer, you would probably agree maybe that you don't know what style you're going to be shooting. Like
Yeah.
there's certain photographers, they have a style, you see it, right? But when you're starting, it's just like I don't have a style because I'm starting. But you might learn and pick up some things from, uh, from like when Boog or puts up a picture, somebody like Simon Hill, right? Things like that.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, I like
Um.
that. Let me try to mimic something like that, and then maybe you start picking up your style or from
Yeah.
watching someone else. So it's like
Sure.
study posts and
Yeah.
see
No,
the comments on how they did it, the behind the scenes shots, and just
oh
learn
yeah.
from that.
Just sitting on Instagram and watching BTS videos can teach you a lot. Yeah, and there's a lot of great guys that you can learn from there, and also they also some of them have YouTube videos and you can watch tutorials.
Yeah,
Um, but I'm just saying, if you're someone that doesn't have a thick skin, you could easily be discouraged.
yeah,
So, but here's the thing too is and a person wiser than me said, because some groups or some people believe, this way is the right way and you have to do it like this and that's it. But a person wiser than me said, once you learn the fundamentals, what you do with the fundamentals to create your art is your business. There's no really right or wrong. And also, like, there'll be not so much that group, but just some people in general, for some reason, they like to zoom in and find flaws in your photo. And
yeah,
another
yeah,
wiser person than me also said, the photo is meant to be looked at how it's presented. If it's meant presented zoomed in on that particular part, that's how it would have been presented. So doing that, it's actually kind of really disrespectful. Like, but yeah, a photo is meant to, how it's presented is how it's meant to be seen. So people do stuff like that, and that can be discouraging too. But yeah. But like I said, another person wiser than me said, once you learn the fundamentals, what you do with the fundamentals to create your art is your thing. Um, you mentioned style, and I think style is my advice to creating, like, getting your own style is definitely wear your influences on your sleeve, but don't try to be exactly like them. Bring you to it.
yeah. Add a little twist.
Yeah. Um, definitely, like, bring you to it. Like, there's nothing wrong with wearing your heart, your influences on your sleeve. Like, one guy that influences everybody, and you're friends with him, and was on a prior episode. Sergeant Bananas, like, the goat. Like, he's probably influenced every single one of us. There's not, so there's nothing wrong with wearing, that on your sleeve if he inspires you. But bring yourself to it.
Yeah,
Also,
yeah. It's like like you have teachers in school. You're sometimes they make an impact on you.
oh yeah, for
And
sure.
then you try to go by how they are. But so we were talking about the stands and how, like, mainly you don't use them. But what are some accessories that you like to use, like maybe like lighting or like the smoke effect? You were talking about the mirror effect that you use, so like stuff like that. Would
Uh, really, lighting wise, like, I got a ring light. I got a bunch of little lights. I, like most of us, not all of us can afford the Loom cubes, and
Mhm.
I got a couple, like, they're actually like half rectangular, not rectangular. They're kind of round, but they're magnetic, and they're by Ulenzi, and Ulenzi's gotten a lot better. And I love these little lights because you can go through every single color, change, like, how intense the light is in every color, and they're really fun. So I use those, two of those a lot. Got a ring light. What else? That's really mainly my main lights. Um, I got like three or four lights. Lighting's another thing that I wish I had a lot more of, but Um, I think starting out, like people, like lighting is a good investment. Lenses are a good investment. I have a friend at work who's a published photographer, and he says he's the best investment for photography is glass. So
Now, when it comes to you doing the shot, and you mentioned the lighting, you know, how like what type of settings do you go for on your camera? Like when you're doing shots, and do you shoot mostly like indoor? Or have you done outdoor shots?
I shoot mostly indoor, because I like to control the environment. I have there's part of me that's like really wants to go outdoors. But I'm so used to being in control indoors and being able to control the environment. I'm just so comfortable with it. Maybe, I mean, it's probably not a bad idea for me to challenge myself and um, take some stuff outside. I think that's also too is time. I probably haven't really had the opportunity to shoot outside just because by the time I get home and spend time with your significant other, your girlfriend, wife, whatever, eat, and then you go to take a photo. You only got a limited amount of time. The sun's down, so I get up and the sun's not up, and when I get home, the sun's going down. So it's hard to shoot outside for me, but it's an itch I want to scratch eventually when I'm brave enough. But I also like control, and that's why I always shoot inside because I can control the environment.
I hope you're enjoying the episode so far. Let's take a quick break and check out some of these progression photos from Karl himself. Take a look at these.
The question that I was telling you about with these guys is the questions about the settings on your camera. Because literally from I got from both of them and basically you was there's not a setting that you just it doesn't stay on that. It's constantly gotta change.
Oh yeah, no, it always
So
changes.
yeah, so I think I'm gonna change that question moving forward to something else. But yeah. All right, the next maybe something that I've been asking too of the guys is like, what's a figure that you have or had before that maybe like just wouldn't photograph well? Maybe a figure that you were like, oh man, I'm really excited to shoot this, and when you went to go do a shot, it just wasn't coming out. Maybe like the idea wasn't there, or the figure itself just wasn't happening. Have you had that like issue, or can think of an instance like that?
I think for me, I'm trying to think. I think of the Mandalorian, but I think also because I didn't have a clear idea and I was kind of just winging it and not having at least a grain of an idea probably is what defeated me in shooting that
Yeah.
figure. Yeah, because I just couldn't get anything that looked good. But at the same time, like there's times where I have an idea and in my brain it looks cool and I set up a shot and it's like, oh, this is just all wrong. But even then, like I'll still sometimes try and stumble upon a photo that I like because I'll move around, try different angles. Maybe it's just the angle, and sometimes I have a happy accident because I mean, with photography, you could take 300 pictures and only have one good one. So it's, but there's no particular figure I can really think of. I know the instance with the Mandalorian, and I don't really shoot too much Star Wars. If I do, it's mainly winds up being Boba Fett because that's just my dude when it comes to Star Wars. But I'm not having a clear idea. Probably I haven't really picked up that figure since that. So it's kind of like, I don't know what it is. Other people take wonderful shots of it. So I don't know. Maybe they just, like I said, back to our previous answer to a question is maybe they just had that passion and love for that character and figure that it came through in the shot. But when I did it, not that I don't like the character, I do, but I didn't have a clear idea.
Yeah, the figure is
And
great, but even I wouldn't know what to do type of shot, you know?
yeah, and I think my thing too is it's like I used to like say back in the day because I skateboarded and then they went to aggressive inline skating. I used to say I'm so punk I don't skateboard. It's like when I see guys doing a lot of tattooing shots, with the Mandalorian, it's like, oh, I want to do something different. Like, it's like I don't want to do what everybody else is doing. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
But definitely like not having a clear idea has been is when I find I'll have trouble shooting a figure. But then I think one particular, I think, and it's the character where if I don't have a clear idea, I can usually get something. But again, that goes back to like passion for the character. Is like if it's Spider-Man, sometimes I can wing it and get something that I really like and enjoy to look at.
Mm-hmm.
But again, like I said, that I think maybe that translates into passion for the
Yeah,
character.
yeah. And I was just about to ask you, well, like, so that's a figure that you probably didn't photograph well. But what's one that you really love taking photos of that maybe you've taken a photo, put it down, and then gone back to it later on to take more photos of that figure, or a couple, or maybe one or two that you could think of that you go back to.
I mean, one off the top of my head is definitely the Mayfix Spider-Man. I love that figure, especially with I forget who made it off the top of my head, but when they had made the PS4 head for the Mayfix Spider-Man, it
Mm-hmm.
kind of like definitely turned into my favorite Spider-Man.
Okay. Yeah.
And I can't say I like every Spider-Man figure. I don't, but that one was awesome. I don't know, you always
Yeah,
wound up.
that's a great figure. Yeah.
Yeah. Um, I want to shoot it more because I absolutely love it. Is the Mayfix Black Suit Spider-Man,
Yeah, I missed out on that one.
and I really love the Mezco one, but the suit kind of deteriorates after a while.
Yeah.
But I got some good ones. Not even one of my favorite shots. If when it comes to Spider-Man in the black suit, is I had the Mezco body, but most people love McFarlane eyes. I don't. Um, so I took the Legends head off the black suit Spider-Man, the more recent one, and put it on the Mezco for a shot.
Okay.
Yeah, that's probably I had to see one of my favorite shots. But I'm probably jumping ahead of you because I think that's one of your questions.
Is it one of the one with the backpack?
Uh, no, it's not one of the ones with the backpack. The Mezco one with the Legends head, it's the one where he's hanging upside down, and it's probably one of the few times I got featured on Toy Pick Community. That one was in that one. I could send
Oh,
it to you,
okay.
or
Yeah,
you'll
I'll
have
pull
to
it
see.
up. Yeah, I'll pull it up. Oh, the one like the cover.
Yeah. Actually, some of the ones that like Spider-Man related is one I my favorite ones. Not I'm not happy with all of them. Yeah, that's it. And I think I did a couple of different comic logos for Spider-Man. Um, but when I started like when started doing the comic the corner box,
Mm-hmm.
those were a lot of fun. Those were a hell of a lot of fun to do. And eventually I'll get back to that. There's like some other characters I'd like to do that, but I don't either own the figure. But there's some. I got Black Panther. I wanted to always do a homage to the Black Panther comic book corner where he's in the tree with the moon.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's one I like to do eventually when I get around to it. Just getting a good tree with some good limbs. um, yeah, but let me see. Hold on a second. Sorry, I hope that didn't pick up. It probably did. You can edit that cough out.
No, I didn't even hear it.
Oh, okay, cool.
Thought you were looking for something.
Oh, I mean, like you brought up earlier, the Devil Toys, like the Mecha Roll Rise line. No, I love shooting those. I always kind of go back to those because they're just fun. And it's one of those things. I don't know. Maybe it just seems to be. I noticed on Instagram and stuff. And I bring up Instagram because really, I mean, and you know too, is like our hobby is really kind of like on Instagram. Like that's what's fueling our hobby. Like that's like where everybody shares.
Yeah.
And it's kind of a shame now. Like I wish there was some other. Um, I know they have Vero, but if that's one thing I wish another platform would come around that we could, as a community and toy photographers, share. And they're like trends often shift, but those figures, it's like kind of like when I shoot those, I don't care if one person likes them. I just love shooting them. It's never the case, but I noticed the trend too is like there's always the new hype figure that everybody's shooting and that gets all likes, and then when there's something that someone shoots that is unfamiliar, and even if it's like and I tend to like, I'm not really, it's not necessarily like if it's a character I know and it's a great shot, yeah, I'll enjoy it. But also in the art aspect, if it's a character I don't know but it's a beautiful shot, I'm gonna like it and share it. um I tend to see that if it's not a character or a line or something that people are unfamiliar with, you don't see it get much traction or love. Which I think if anybody's starting out, don't let that discourage you either, because I'm trying to disassociate likes with quality of photo. Which you
Yeah.
kind of had to do is like, don't let it. Not a lot of likes make you think that your photo sucks, because I don't want to say the community, but Instagram is fickle. So don't let it discourage you. It doesn't mean it's a bad photo. Sometimes people, they don't know what it is. The character is what draws them, I guess, not the art. Sometimes, and you'll see a Spider-Man photo that's in someone's hand, and it's got 3,000 likes, and you're like, what the fudge? I put in like hours in setting this up and the lighting and getting it perfect, and the photo's like fire, and didn't do anything. Yeah, it's just IG's a fickle.
I know what you mean. Like we talked about this in a previous episode where it's like, sometimes you get that new figure and that's all you see for that week, right? Is that one that just recently dropped, Mayfex's Cyborg Superman, right?
Yeah.
Like that comes out this week, and then the whole week, the rest of the week, you're gonna see it, and it's mainly because people are excited. They want to shoot it in a way too. They want to show you, hey, I have it too, Because again, like you said, some shots come out spectacular, and other shots is just like I can tell that you just wanted to put out there just so you can
want to
show
be
people
first.
I got it. Yeah.
Yeah, you want to be first.
And so, it's almost like FOMO, fear of missing out. That like, man, but sometimes it's a breath of fresh air when something like that in the mix you see, like you said, like the Mezco Black Suit Spidey, as old as that is, and then out of nowhere you see a dope shot with that.
Yeah.
It's almost like okay, 15 cyborg Supermans, and then look at this one. This one's dope. Oh, this is awesome. And it's the Mezco Black Suit Spidey.
Yeah,
So that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, even like Mesco the Vapor, when that first came out, that's all you saw.
Yeah.
I just recently got a Vapor, like an actual Vapor, and I haven't shot it yet. Eventually I will, but I mean, it's like whatever's the hot drop or the new height figure, that you're going to see a lot of that, and you're going to see a lot of those shots get traction, whether it's good, bad, or in between, whatever. But I've never sweated the new hype figure either because I just can't afford to get that figure right now, or I'm gonna let it cool down. I don't want to be like I said. I'm so punk. I don't skateboard. It's like I'll wait till it cools down and then I'll
Yeah,
shoot.
you don't want to get lost in the sauce, and with everybody else's shots and stuff like that. That's why
Yeah.
I'm anxiously waiting the drop of the 89 Batman, the
Yeah.
Mezco 89 Batman, because I know I'm gonna see that for the next couple weeks because it's been 3 years since that figure's been announced,
Oh
So
yeah.
I'm waiting to get flooded with that, which I won't mind because
Yeah.
I like Batman. I like especially 89 Batman, and can't wait to
Oh,
see
yeah,
like people's shots.
yeah. I mean, there's a lot of like even guys that like aren't that into Batman want that figure because it's like
Yeah.
that's their Batman. You know what I mean? Like, um, so I totally get it. And then, me personally, I'm like I don't really need it. Um, I mean, even though that they're re-releasing the '89 Batman Hot Toy, I'm like, oh,
Oh
because
yeah,
it's probably
that looks fantastic. By the
yeah,
way,
yeah, and it's probably way better than that one they released years ago. Because they probably with technology and they got better. Hot Toys got better at what they do, and it's probably going to be phenomenal. Like part of me is like, there's an itch. It's like, do I want that?
dude,
Kind of.
the eyes move,
Yeah. Well, the other one did too, but it's like you couldn't really get much out of the figure.
and between the price between that and then the Batmobile put together, it's like it's like a G, maybe a little bit over.
Which is crazy because if you were to go hunt down the previous released ones, it's probably way like resale value, like way more than that. But now for all those who got into the game late, they have an opportunity to get that. And like you said, like it's like what, like a stack? Like that's really good for a 1/6 scale car. I mean, look how much 1/12 scale cars cost, like if someone makes them. So I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah, like the
so
the Batmobile itself is 750, and if you don't go for the deluxe version of the Batman, you're looking at like 280, 290. Yo, that's right there, a G. And then you get the car and the figure, which is like
yeah.
insane because the DeLorean itself was I think around 800 or something like that.
Oh
Like
yeah.
850.
Yeah, and the car, it's not like it just sits there. Like it lights up and everything. Like it's awesome. Like, 'cause there's so many things that thing probably does.
Yeah, it's like a figure on its own, with like
Yeah,
all the stuff it can do and the way you can like different stuff that it brings. It's a pretty dope drop.
yeah, and it's probably one of the like more like doper looking Batmobiles. There's something about that Batmobile. It's just like, oh man, that thing's like fucking badass.
Well, yeah, like for us, in our age, it's almost damn near iconic at this point because of how we
Oh, for
grew up
sure.
in the movie and everything. You know what I mean? So
Oh yeah,
like I can
it hits
see why
all
it's
the nostalgia buttons.
oh
It hits
yeah,
all the nostalgia buttons.
everything.
Yeah,
So that's pretty dope. I'm excited for that. I probably won't get it, but if I see it at the shop when it comes out, yeah, I might have to.
yeah. You get that trigger finger, like you're like, oh, do I just do it? Like
Yeah,
you get that devil on your shoulder thing, like
yeah,
do
yeah,
it, like
yeah. Yeah, that's the hardships of collecting, right?
yeah, yeah, man. Because
There's no control.
yeah, I think FOMO does have a lot to play with collecting too, because you don't want to miss out. Some people just pre-order stuff because they don't really even know if they want it, but they don't want to not be able to get it if they do decide they like it. So you're like, yeah, it's nuts.
Yeah. you know, um, you said you shoot a lot, and like you're always posting up on IG and things like that, and Facebook, whatever, and Twitter. All the socials. Your most recent shots, and it seems like you pump them out at least once, maybe twice a week, sometimes. But
Yeah,
is there
it's been a
something that is there? Go ahead, go ahead.
yeah. Unfortunately, like lately, like this year, like from August till now, has been a little bit rough trying to find time to shoot. Yeah, it was like once or twice a week, probably at most 3, at the minimum 1. Because I also say quality over quantity. So, if I only got one really good one for the week, cool. I still think that's a win for me.
Yeah.
But it's been a really bit. So, I mean, it's been several weeks since I actually had a shot. I think that too also has to do with a little bit of IG. This episode, you're gonna hear someone really hating on IG. Only because it's like kind of like unmotivated me a little bit to where also, but I guess also sparked a thing where it's like, well, I always wanted to start making a custom, like my own type of characters, and I love cyberpunk. So, and I've sent you photos you've seen, like working on some like kind of like cyberpunk streetwear esque kind of 112 action figures to shoot. Like, create my own little world because they don't really make that much stuff that fall into that genre of stuff. So that's what I've been doing. I actually was working just before we got on to do the show. I was editing a photo of a custom that I took today. I actually got an opportunity to sit down and take a photo, and I like them. Am I in love with them? I probably, but we'll see.
That's cool, man. And yeah, I would like, those customs right now that you showed me before. Those are pretty dope. So, and like those are custom head sculpts, right?
Yeah. What was it? Is it 796?
Yeah, Mario. I got a head sculpt or two from the ones he did, and I just
Yeah.
never did anything with it because I don't know how to paint.
It's trial and error. Because I used to build Gundams, so painting comes a little easy, but my airbrush is broke, so I had to like paint that all by hand. And it's very much like patience is a virtue with that stuff.
Yeah,
But
I was gonna try the one. I was gonna look for the one that I got from him and try with my Gundam markers and see what I could come up with, and hopefully not mess it up too bad. Where I'm like, yeah, nah.
now there's like a whole thing to it. Like, you gotta like, it depends. Some people really say no, but like you gotta like lightly sand it, primer it, then you gotta wait. Like, I usually wait like a day for it to cure, because I've definitely at times have been impatient, and then I paint, and then like you could just like peel the paint and the primer right off. Like, I didn't give it enough time to cure, or put a different paint on, and it reactivates the other paint. Like, yeah, it's not hard to mess it up, but it's not hard. I don't know. I can't say it's not hard, because there's guys that do paint head sculpts, and you're like, what?
Yeah,
Like, they're
seriously.
phenomenal. Like,
Ugh, I hate this guy. He's so good.
yeah. But again, like I said, like like with anything, like, you're not gonna come out your first play and be the star running back and be the best there ever was. Like, it's just like keep doing it and keep doing it. I mean, we have a mutual friend, Major Reaction, and just watching him getting better and his stories getting better and better at painting head sculpts. So, and he keeps at it. So, like, if anything, you just keep at it and keep trying.
Yeah, just again practicing your craft, right? Just practice
Yeah.
and practice.
And it all like kind of like falls into each other. Like, I could like the toy photography, and then like toy collect, because I wouldn't really consider myself a toy collector. I'm not collecting any specific line. Maybe besides Mecharo Rise. I'm hopefully they'll send me a check. No, I'm kidding. But um, yeah, like I'm not buying everything. I buy what interests me. If it's Spider-Man, I'm more likely to buy it because it's Spider-Man. But I can't buy everything. There's some people that do, and I admire them. I wish I was in their situation, but I can't really afford to collect everything. So, but also, like I said, when it comes down to like you can see the love put into the photo. So, like, if I don't have any passion or love for that character, I feel like you're going to see it in the photo. So I'm not going to just drop money on a character I really don't care about, you know. And
yeah, and
but
like you said, this is an expensive hobby, especially if you start going down the rabbit hole of I gotta be a completionist and do everything, and things like that. And I've fallen in that category quite a few, where I can't just have the one; I gotta complete the set. And
which
next thing you
yeah,
know, it's
which I
like,
feel
oh
sorry
damn,
for you because you're a turtles guy. You love turtles, and there's like so many companies pumping out Ninja
yeah.
Turtle lines.
And they just keep coming out, and they just keep coming out.
Yeah, and all of them look awesome. All of them look awesome. Honestly, too, though, like I as a kid, I loved Ninja Turtles. I got the movie Turtles because I loved the movie Turtles. I like more like the comic book than the cartoon, but that Fury Toys Leo, like I can't wait to get more of those when they keep putting out the other turtles because I just think they're awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's like the line, like the first line that really made me go, yeah, I want to get some turtles now. Like, you know,
Yeah, I'm anxious. I'm anxious to get Autumn, aka Donnie.
yeah, I haven't seen that drop yet unless I missed it.
No,
Any
it
pre-orders
hasn't
ain't gone.
dropped yet. It hasn't dropped yet, but they just put up an update on the height actually. So it's pretty dope. I'm excited. Apparently, they let the fans choose the height that
Yeah,
he was going to be.
yeah, they did that. I think for the head sculpt too. They said A or B, and whatever how many people said A or B, that's the one they went with. And I think the same too with the height. And I don't really see Donnie being like really like that much like really taller than Leo. Like, Raphael's usually been the taller one, and Mikey's the smallest, isn't he?
Yeah,
Usually,
yeah. I got to see the Splinter. Like I like what I'm seeing so far. What they showed
mm,
off with the Donnie and then the Splinter, but we'll probably, that's probably not going to be the last final look. I'm pretty sure they're going to tweak it, but
mhm.
that's an exciting line, So
Yeah,
I'm all in with that one. The Leo itself, if you have it or not, I don't remember,
yeah,
but
yeah.
it's an awesome figure.
Because I think I talked you into getting it.
Yeah, probably.
I think I talked you and Andre into getting it. I never heard Andre's take on it, but I remember being like, "Yo, it's awesome, dude!" Like,
Yeah,
I just love that because it's got like that realism to it a little bit. You know what I mean?
yeah.
I like
Again,
that.
because it's not a big figure, it's not NECA size, it's not Marvel Legends size, it's not definitely not McFarlane size. It's a nice, almost like figure arts Figma size, and it's dope because, like I said, I wouldn't want them to be quote unquote human form, like size form, or like a 6 inch. So when it says 112, even though they're like about 4.5, 5 inches, I'm cool with that. And then for all of them to be different sizes, I'm down with that too. You know what I mean?
Yeah, 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 for sure. I definitely think if you're a Turtles fan, like you have like a plethora of things you can choose from. So many lines. Like so, whatever your tastes are when it comes to turtles. Like, I mean, they're if one company's not making it, another company is. You know,
Yeah, exactly.
so it's definitely a cool time to be a turtle fan, a Ninja Turtle fan for sure.
Oh, it definitely was. It is, it definitely is because it's like you went from almost having nothing, right? Just other than the Mattel stuff that was getting put out to NECA coming out off the gate strong with all the
Yeah,
stuff they dropped with starting with the movie line, right? And then doing the animated, which was like it felt like every month a new set was coming out, which is about to start back up again. Now they're doing the Mirage comic stuff. They're gonna do the last Ronin stuff, and that's just NECA. You
yeah.
still have, you
Super
still have
Seven.
Super 7 doing the classic style look with a twist, updated twist. That's awesome. You got third party stuff like Fury, right? Then you got like other third parties that are doing it. Now you got McFarlane coming out announcing that he's gonna do Turtles, but based off the new movie that's gonna be
Yeah,
out. So it's definitely, and all the Playmate stuff is coming right back out again too. You know,
Yeah,
so it's like
yeah.
it's everywhere. It's everywhere. So it is new game, new game, an updated version of the original. What it seems like the arcade game. So that's that's awesome.
Yeah, so I mean, they're coming back in a big way,
Yeah,
and
and
I don't know how
I'm
it
so
resonates
excited.
with with kids, but I mean, a person growing up with the turtles, like it definitely, like I said, like probably pokes all of your nostalgia buttons.
Well, that's
Yeah,
you said collecting is like FOMO and things like that, but it's also it's nostalgia because it's pulling on our heartstrings. We're
oh
buying the
sure,
things that we lacked when we were younger because we didn't
yeah.
have control over how much we got of it. Some
Oh
of us
yeah,
more than others. Like there's probably a lot that they'd be like, "Oh yeah, I had all the figures." Others is like, "I just
oh
had
yeah,
one." You
yeah.
know?
Like you were held hostage by mom and dad's wallet, so you couldn't get you couldn't do what the package says and collect them all. You know, it depended on mom and dad saying yes or no. You know, if they had,
Yeah, now you have adult money, so now, hey, guess what? I didn't have it then. I'm the captain now, and I'm buying
yeah,
everything, baby.
yeah, yeah. I mean, that's like, I mean, I'm sure that's a lot of motivation for vintage collectors too. It's like, oh, I remember when mom and dad said no, I'm buying this
Yeah,
because
exactly.
because there's no one to say no to me now. Like you're buying back your childhood,
Yeah,
but
yeah, definitely. As much as you can afford it, you're buying
yeah.
it back. That's perfectly said, man. Would you have like some type of advice for someone that wants to get in the hobby, or maybe is just starting out?
Yeah, I mean, I think I probably regurgitate a lot of the things I've said because I feel like a lot of my answers to the questions were probably advice, but like really, my advice is don't get discouraged. Um, keep going at it. This day and age, I mean, we have YouTube, and if you don't know something, there is millions and millions of videos that can help you or teach you. You know, but don't get discouraged. Keep trying. Also, try to have easier said than done, but try to have a thicker skin if someone gives you a critique or has some advice. Um, don't let that like discourage you in any way, but just have fun. Mainly, have fun. You're like I said before, you're limited to your imagination, so let it run wild. Like tap into that inner kid. If you don't have an idea for a shot, read some comics, watch some movies, be like, hit pause. Because in the beginning, too, is even still now, it's like some of my shots kind of influence to like, it, it's like if you hit the pause button at the right moment while you're watching a movie and it's just like this cool picture. You know
Yeah,
what I
yeah,
mean?
like you want to just recreate that scene.
Yeah. And, that's, I think maybe some of how my stuff is. It's like, you hit pause on an awesome movie just at the right moment, and it's just cool. This cool scene, this action shot. Because I know some people are like, "Well, what's the story?" You want a story. Sometimes you gotta read a book, but maybe you just want something cool and visual to see. Um, you know, look at comics, um, movies like angles and stuff like that, and like I said, don't beat yourself up if you're not awesome right away. I tend to think I progressed fast because I had the time. So I definitely feel that I'm an exception. Not that because I'm so talented. It's just I was an exception to the rule a little bit. I because I got better very quickly because I had the time to put in. But keep putting in the time, and you will see results. You 100% will see results.
Yeah.
And also advice and like you said earlier, like I sent you a shot and you thought it was dope, but I'm like, I don't fucking like every shot, shoot it. Sorry for cursing so much. But my one suggestion too, I got a couple of suggestions. Two is sit on a photo, don't delete it, because what you don't like about it, sometimes you need fresh eyes. You know,
Yeah.
let it sit for a week and then look at it. Because that there's times where I held on to a photo, like it's good, I just don't really like it. Something bothers me about it, and then a week or two later, I go back to it and look at it and go, "What did I not like about this again? This is kind of dope."
Yeah.
And also, don't break down your sets right away, your setups right away, because maybe when you're going through your photos to choose the one that you like, um, you might wind up not finding anything, and then you broke your whole setup down, and then you're like, "Damn it!" So uh, sometimes it's good not to break your setup down because you might have to want to reshoot. So leave it up for a little bit. Don't break it down right away because you might come back tomorrow, or even then you might have a shot you like, but of course, the day you're driving to work and suddenly, lightning strikes your brain and you're like, oh, wait, this is a great idea with that setup and with the figure I had. I just got to do this. You didn't break it down. So you just go home when you got the time, and try it out and shoot it. So I said, definitely don't break your, and I'm sure, yeah, Dario, I'm sure you probably remember there's times where you're like, oh, why don't you reshoot it? And I'm like, I already broke it down.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't want to set it up again.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I learned quickly,
I'm
I
guilty of
should
that.
probably,
Like, oh man, I should have never took it down.
yeah. So
But it's
definitely
like you
don't
get
break.
frustrated, So it's like, I'm done with this. Let me put it away.
Yeah, sometimes you feel like it's like in the middle of the game Monopoly, where you're just like, this game, But sometimes too, it's like getting frustrated. Walk away. Try it a couple hours later. Try it a day later, day or two later. Because I can't, it's gonna get frustrating, and everything is when you're learning, and but definitely my advice is, well, be easy on yourself and have fun. Because if it's not fun, it ain't worth doing. Don't take it too seriously. Have fun, and don't break down your sets right away. Well, that's the only really advice I can really think of right now.
No, that's
another
great.
voice that I need to take myself: buy an extra battery and keep it on charge.
Oh, speaking of batteries, the one thing that I'm like, oh my God, get a charger is when I see behind the scene videos. And for some reason, it's like a trend. Everybody's camera is about to die.
Yeah, it's blinking like on the last bar or no bars.
So I bought one of these. I got one of these. I looked it up and I said, you know what, man, I'm done with this. Especially if I'm in the middle of a shot and you're not focusing. I bought one of these batteries that plugs in right into the wall. It goes right into my camera. It has the little slot, so it doesn't even bother. And I keep it on my tripod, but it's constantly going. It'll never die out unless I unplug it.
That's a great idea.
And then I have my battery for when I go outside, and I can just bring it with me. But this is always plugged up into the wall, and I never got to worry about anything.
Yeah, you send me a link for that. See if I can find one for my Canyon.
I went right on Amazon and I found it, man, and I said, "Yep, I'm not gonna do this anymore."
yeah. But that's definitely, there's times where like I had an idea, I'm setting up, it's just not working. It's just and then all of a sudden, battery dies, and you're like, "Damn it!" Definitely buy like an extra battery, or depending on how much you shoot, buy a couple extra batteries, keep them on charge, or do what Dario did and get like an external battery that plugs in, and you never have to worry about that. That's me giving advice and taking that I need to take my own.
Oh man, but man, Karl, man, I want to thank you for taking your time out and talking camera talk with me and things like that and the whole hobby talk. I appreciate it.
No, thank you for having me, man.
Of
It's
course,
fun.
man.
It's
No,
fun.
I want to get a perspective from like almost, a few angles, from like that guys that we might hold all the way up here to guys that are probably maybe just starting out, or someone like yourself that went from starting out to improving to me, in my opinion, being you're getting up there to be a great photographer,
No, I
and like in
appreciate it.
such a fast time. And I was just like, wow, like it was again because you were constantly pumping them out, sending them to me. Yo, what do you think? What do you think? And we'll just talk about photos, and it was it's been fun watching the journey, it's
Yeah,
gonna and continuing to watch you is gonna be awesome. So again,
well, I
thank you,
appreciate that.
for giving me your time and things like that. So I
Well,
appreciate it.
I appreciate you taking the ride with me, man, because you've always been there and supportive, which is great. You know what I mean? And I really appreciate that a
Of
lot.
course, man. Friends
Yeah,
gotta support each other, right? That's the only
yeah,
way.
hell yeah, for sure. Anyway, but you always been like fucking ride or die dude to me. Always been supportive. So I appreciate it, man, and I appreciate you giving me the time to just chat it up with you about this hobby that and it's like I said, it's not even just. It's funny is the toy photography also got me into other realms, and some stuff was a hobby before, like building Gundams and model building, and then I went into toy photography, and then there's some stuff that like translates, from building dios and making customs. So it's been like a multifaceted journey, and it's fun. And like I said too, I really appreciate your support. You since day one, you've been there. You know what I mean? And with you know positive advice and feedback. You know, and that's the way it should be done. And that's how people get better, with positive advice and feedback. Anything. You roll in with the positive, you throw in some of the little negative things that could be better, but at the end of the day, even with you at the end of the conversation, I'm like, all right, yeah, I feel positive. I'm gonna do what Dario said. Let's see it. See if this works out. You know what I'm saying? And that's the way it should be every time. You know what I mean?
I hope you guys enjoyed that conversation and hopefully picked up some pointers along the way. I know I did. Thank you again for tuning in. And make sure to join us next time on Behind the Lens.